Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my middle school experience and also looking at my Leavers school shirt. So if you live in England or are aware of the English school system, you all know that there are two main types of school systems you can go through. So you can usually either go through what's called a two-tier system, where you will do a primary and a high school, and that's like your two, primary and secondary kind of thing, where you will do primary from school starting age all the way up until year 6, which is 10 in the UK, or 10/11, depending on when your birthday is. You will then go on to secondary school, which is from your 11/12 age all the way up until school leavers. And that is the two-tier system. The three-tier system is when you go from school starting age to year 4, and then year 5 all the way up to year 8, and then year 9 to school leavers. So you have three schools you go to. So I did primary at the two-tier system, so therefore I left at year 6. And then I went into the three-tier system because in my area, the two-tier system was in the private schools, whereas the three-tier system was mainly for the state schools. Also, the private secondary school that kind of led on from my primary school, that one you had to be of an academic level. You had to pass what's called the 11+. And I wasn't academic, not at that age anyway, and I think this might have been contributing to the fact that I was 10, only just turned 10 when I was doing my 11+, when a lot of the kids in the school would been 11 since September. I wouldn't have turned 11 until the August, which kind of meant that I was almost a year and a half behind everyone else. So then I went into the state middle school, which meant that I would be starting year 7, which is in the middle of that middle school. So that middle school started at year 5 and went up to year 8, so I would have done the last 2 years of that middle school and then moved on to the high school in the area. So as you can imagine, changing schools isn't easy. If any of you are familiar with changing schools and changing from one area to another, you'll know that it's not necessarily easy to have to meet new friends and stuff like that. But having to go into a school where majority of the kids have been there for 2 years, you have come in sort of the last 2 years of the school. The rest of the kids have had 2 years to get to know each other and to kind of form their friendship groups and stuff. So I found it really hard to make friends. And I think this is probably the start of my issues in terms of making friends. I was bullied a little bit before. I was bullied at primary school at age, and that was an experience, but then having to go in on my own and be one of the very few that had gone into that school at that particular time, and then just have to make friends all of a sudden was really, really difficult. So I've gone into the middle school and I've attached myself to a group of friends. There was 4 of us in total, so we were all girls, 4 of us, so me and 3 others. We were kind of what you would call a broken friendship in a way. There was one girl who was really, really shy, and she would almost prefer to be on her own, but I always tried to include her as much as possible because I didn't know whether she liked to be alone or whether she just didn't want to be involved in any sort of drama or conflict or anything. I wanted to include her because I thought she must get lonely sometimes, so I would give her the space sometimes, and then other times I'd be oh, do you want to come hang out with us, or do you want to come play this game or something like that? And then there was another girl who was in between me and this last girl. So there was girl 1 who was really, really shy, girl 2 who was in between me, and girl 3. Girl 3 used to be my friend. She was my friend for the first couple of months, and then we fell out, and to this day I'm not entirely sure what happened and what I did. I'm trying my best to move on from that and trying my best to just, accept the fact that she did what she did. But that girl 3, who was originally friends with me, she turned into my bully, and it got to the point where she wasn't just calling me names, she wasn't just messing around or doing things how the bullying had been when I'd experienced it in primary school. the bullying had gone on to physical, and she had attached herself to the fact that she would call me fat, she would call me ugly, but then she would follow that comment up with a slap across the shoulders, or like a slap across the top of the arms, or a punch to the side, or something like that. Like, and it was never really hard, but she did mean it in a malicious way. And I suppose being the person who I just didn't like, I didn't want to cause any issues, I initially just kind of brushed it under the carpet and didn't want to say anything, which, by the way, is the biggest mistake ever in this whole story, so just bear that in mind. So she was doing this, she was bullying me for a good, I would say 6 to 8 months. She was bullying me, and at the end of this 6 to 8 months, this is when everything came to a head, and everything that she'd been doing in the past had then become an issue. So I was going home with girl 2 to go to her house because we were going to the circus. This was at a time when girl 3 had annoyed girl 2, and so therefore she had chosen me over girl 3, basically. We were walking home, and girl 3 had been loitering around, had been, you know, just hanging around and just being kind of awkward, like, ever since the end of school. And we had stayed around because we were speaking to a teacher, and then we were heading back to hers. When we left, when we say, oh, we're gonna leave, this girl 3 decided to leave just before us. So I remember it distinctively. She was walking in front of us, and we were walking like just behind her, and then when it got to a corner by a park, she decided to turn around and thump me in the stomach. I remember being winded, I remember being in pain, I remember falling to the ground, and then kind of automatically getting up and not quite realising what had happened straight away. Then I've got up, and she's gone to go and hit me again, but my friend, girl 2, has stood in the way, and I will be forever thankful for the fact that I only got hit once, because if girl 2 hadn't stood in, then I don't know what had happened, whether I would have been beat up to the point where I would have needed hospital treatment or anything like that. But luckily I was hit in the stomach, and I managed to get to girl 2's house, and then I was able to call my dad, call my mum, call my dad, and basically just say, girl 3 has just assaulted me, has just hit me in the stomach, and I didn't know what to do, so I had to call somebody. So I called my parents, and they basically said that we would call the police, but we would call the police once I'd had a good time and I'd been to the circus. They gave me the option. They said they could either pick me up and we could not go to the circus and come pick me up, I'd go home and that would be it. Or I could go to the circus. They gave me 3 options. I was meant to stay that night. So they gave me, we can pick you up now and you can not go to the circus if you're too scared to go to the circus. So that was option 1. Option 2 was you could go to the circus and we'll pick you up after the circus. So at least you get to go and have fun with your friend, but you don't have to stay the night if you don't want to. And the third option was that I would do the plan as originally planned, and that I would go to the circus, come back girl 2's house, and then I would stay the night and mum would pick me up in the next morning. And I can't remember whether it was option 2 or option 3 I ended up doing. I know that my mum didn't pick me up straight away. I know that it was a case of I went to the circus, and I can't remember whether I was picked up after the circus or the next morning. But irregardless, the police were called, and as far as I'm aware, to this day, in that interview, she broke down, she cried, she said that she didn't mean it, and all those words that basically ended up her getting no charges pressed. If you'd like me to go into more detail about my bullying experience and talk about what happened at school, what the school did, what I had to do, and everything, then please let me know, because I have a lengthy history of being bullied by children at school, so please let me know if that's something you'll be interested in. But let's go ahead and get on to me reacting to my Leavers shirt, because that's an interesting one. So if any of you are from the UK, you will know / be aware of the fact that state schools in the UK, well, when I was at school anyway, used to do and / maybe still do Leavers shirt. And when I was at school, literally, it would be a case of you would just take an old shirt and you just get people to write on it. I am going to be reacting to some of the messages that are on this shirt. I found it the other day whilst I was tidying, and I thought it would be an ideal opportunity. I'm going to go ahead and have a look at all of these messages. Some of them are just names, but I am literally just going to go ahead and just read some of the messages. So one of my friends said, "Have a great summer," which, again, some of them are just generic good lucks and stuff like that. Oh, I remember there was one of my friends drew a hamster on my shirt. So cute. Don't know whether you can see it, but literally a little hamster, and she named it Hammy the hamster on my shirt. And then there's one message on here which just shows how popular I was at school. Joking. Kick me. Yeah, that just shows the maturity level of some of the kids at my school. that would wrote, kick me. Good luck, have fun. There's loads of good lucks on here, so I think I might just pick out the ones that are like different, because I think there is a few. There's one person again who said, ha, you're leaving, which I believe we all were leaving, but you know, shows the level of maturity at my school. Have fun in the sun. Ooh, that's quite a nice little message. Let's have a quick look at further down in the shirt, because I believe there was some nice messages. Yes, here it is. So this was from my music teacher. And she was the sweetest ever at middle school. She said, keep singing, thanks for all your help and laughter, I think it says. I don't know, but it says keep singing. She believed in me. And there was also, all the best, I miss my music girl, who is very talented. I never believed at the time, but it just goes to show that other people did believe in me. So actually, I don't think there's many more messages, because a lot of them are just good lucks. And some of them have got obviously names on them which I can't